Hey everybody, it's your friend Kevin coming to you from Charlotte, North Carolina. Today is Sunday the 25th of December. It's Christmas Day and why I'm in this getup. And this is your card of the day. All right then, my friends, let's get right to it. We are using Fairy Tarot cards by Radley Valentine with images by Howard David Johnson. So I'm going to go ahead and do my little shuffle. Great fairies of all corners of the earth, Father in the sky, Mother in the earth, angels, ancestors, ascended beings. I set the intention to bring a message of hope, of inspiration this day, Christmas Day. 25th of December 2022. So be it and so shall it be. There we go. Straight off the top. Oh, number 15. The ego. Well, look at this. I actually like these cards that are just a tiny bit left of center because it gives me something to bite onto. You know, in traditional tarot, this would be literally seen as the devil. And, you know, as we know it, the ego does tend to bring that devilish quality into our lives because it is so tricky. It's connected to fear. It's connected to the part of us that doesn't feel worthy or good enough or any of those things. And so perfect that this number 15 should show up today through this deck of cards, which is really linked to earthy things. I like to think that fairies and pixies and gnomes and all of those magical creatures we learn about in folklore are around us and with us and about us in the realm between our physical realm and, of course, the angelic realms, and angels have not been in human form. But then we've also got our ascended ones. We've got the ascended ones that are connected to us, that we may have known in a physical life, and the ascended ones that perhaps left in our early life, our ancestors, we call them. And then there are the ascended masters that sometimes come as we go on a journey of learning. Anyway, let's get to the energy of today. I don't want to go off topic. So today's energy is about the illusion of being trapped and placing way too much importance on material items, getting caught up in fear and in worry. So it is no coincidence that we should have this card on a day of giving, on a day of receiving, that hope that the gift we extended to others was received with gratitude or the blessing of it, or the gift that someone gave us was appropriate, one that we wanted or needed. More importantly, if we're talking about materialism today, and we're talking about that exchange of gifts, oftentimes there is, and how interesting is this, that I'm seeing the fairy and the angel, if you will, angel fairy, they're burning this bag full of guilt. See it going in there? They're burning it off. And I feel like that's the message I'm going to deliver today. And I'm going to go into deeper detail because I've learned something through my meditation this morning that I think is so poignant. But I'm going to read what Radley wrote in his description on this deck. Incidentally, you can get this off his website, www.radleyvalentine.com. And if you're looking to maybe study a little more about angels, about spirit world, or you want to take a bit of a deeper dive, on that website you'll find all kinds of courses, many of them very affordable, lots of them quite free. Okay, here we go. The ego. So for today, the emotion of happiness can be elusive if you're not clear on what your own priorities are, or your motivations are, or your behaviors are. So take time for self-reflection and allow the opportunity to experience great personal epiphanies and practice self-forgiveness. See the truth of who you are, release those aspects that no longer serve you, and let go of guilt, fear, blame, shame, all of those things. Have compassion for yourself. Look right in the mirror and tell yourself, I love you for being divinely perfect in this moment. Detox from harmful foods, substances, people. Confront your fears. Release yourself from any limitations or self-imposed traps. Give yourself permission to be free. So our fairy friends stand before this traditional Celtic Beltain Fire, a springtime ceremony to release the old, which is the guilt and the fear and the blame and the shame and all those negative things that are other products of the ego. In order to do this, the new can come in. So when we do it, we get the new to come in. You know, determining what is the cause and what is the symptom is really placing too much importance on the material stuff. It leads us to get caught up in fears and worry, and honestly, it gives us this feeling of being caught up in our own inadequacies, our own insecurities, our own challenges. So what I was going to share with you on this special day is that, you know, I know that some are, you know, the Christian, Catholic, patriarchal type religion has obviously their traditions. It's a season of goodwill to all men. Well, I personally think, and I don't expect you to believe the same, but in every single thread of religion, there is a season of that somewhere in a calendar year where they celebrate each other with the gift giving and the gift receiving, which is really giving thanks for our sisterhood and brotherhood of human, well, we're human being human. We're spiritual being human. That's what I want to say. Gosh, all right, I know my guide's just saying get it together. There's a theory by some, you know, the second coming of Christ. Well, I believe, or I've learned and kind of believe it, and I don't expect you, so don't worry. I'm not, if you believe something else, listen, I'm all up for that. I think there's something pretty substantial happened when this child that in Western religions we knew to be Jesus was born. Here comes a child that is come from God, the creator of all things, in a miraculous way. It really wasn't so much about he's going to solve the problems of the world, more so the message, the symbolism of what this child represented. And at the time that this child came in to the earth in physical form, many did not believe what this man was saying, where this man was coming from with these off-the-wall thoughts. This was completely different to anything anyone had ever heard from before. And then because of the law of attraction, the law of manifestation, the law of making things happen, he began to get believers on board to say they felt it too. They felt this shift. They felt this transformation. They felt this newness coming that wasn't there before. Now, I expand that a bit further and say to myself, wow, we come in, if we're spiritual beings, we're limited to what we can do. But then when we get into a physical form, oh my goodness, we can take everything off. We can actually do things to make things better for everyone, to do better. When we know better, we do better. And I'm sure that many of you who are listening to this had your, they call it, I don't know what they want to call it. There's been near-death experiences. There's been the night of something about the soul. There's all kinds of things that create the shifting to where, oh, I just woke up to something, or oh my goodness, this is something going on here. Dark night of the soul is what I was going to look for. The part where we are pushed up against the purpose, the reason why we come. So there's that. If you are part of the law of attraction, as I am, if you believe in a being and a power higher than yourself, which I do, if you believe that you're an extension of that creative energy, which I do, then we as a collective are part of this second coming business. Now, I'm not going to put my hand up and say, yes, I am the Son of God, because, to many people that might look like, good gracious, who do you think you are? And here we go with a bloody ego card. I shouldn't swear, but there you go. However, what I will say is I must have been good enough to get here to do this. And think about it. I don't know where finances, money come from to support the lifestyle that I have. It's not affluent. It's not material. I think that there is a part of our culture these days, especially the Western culture, that shows the world, if you go to America, you get this great big house, you get this fancy car, you get this job, and money just falls into your lap. Yet where you got to do this thing called work for it. And yeah, who doesn't want their own bathroom inside their own bedroom? Who doesn't want 800 thread count sheets? We all would like to have something like that. However, there's this thing called appreciation and gratitude. We have to be grateful for everything we do have, even if it isn't the fancy sheets, the big house, the great car, and the whatever it is, the bougie zip code. Those are all the material things that then create the illusion that we've got to keep it up. So, our children's children, television, the media, all this other claptrap nonsense that tells people that if you want to feel worthy or you want to feel deserving, you've got to have all these things. And hello, I had to learn that the hard way, the very hard way of thinking that that was what we were supposed to do. Now I know better. Now that I know better, I most certainly can do better. When you've got that, or at least when I've got that switched on, turned on, that extension cord to the Creator, that feeling that, okay, whether you want to call it Jesus, Krishna, Kuan Yin, who else? Melchizedek, all of these great masters that came from the Creator. And really, let me tell you something, in our modern day, we've had Martin Luther King, we've had Gandhi, several others who came, had this message where the masses were going, are you off your mind? Have you gone mad? But they didn't venture away from the message that we have to do things. Aside from tarot, aside from all of this, I feel it's a gift that we get given to use these tools that we have, psychic tools, mediumship tools, the connection with spirit. that creative connection with the light of whatever you want to call it, God, universe, or energy. It doesn't matter. I like to think sometimes we're here right now where all of these religious practices are creating a lovely little mesh. I like to think of that. It's like a network. You know, you've got Hindu, which I'm learning a bit more about, the celebration of gods and goddesses, and then you've got Buddhism, which is another different practice, more meditation, more Zen, more simple, more what we want to call that, ease, all of that stuff. So you could really say, you know, if you are a little bit of this and a little bit of that, you're like a Hindu. Who would like to say, I practice Hinduism, which is really, you know, a little bit like, I want to know the Hindu is all about celebration. It's all about creating things, preserving things, and then letting go, destroying, and releasing what doesn't work. And then, of course, you get to that simplification of stuff. I'm going off the wall, I know. Got two little chip jabbers going, which I love. I love them. I love my jibber jabbers. And I hope I'm making sense. So on this day, this Christmas day, this Christ Mass, the ego card, get together with what you feel in your heart really sings, really makes a difference. And hopefully you land on this place that, number one, you're worthy. Number two, you are most certainly good enough. Number three, your purpose here is to let that extension cord, that power, that light that's in your soul, that's been there forever, woof, let it out. Even if you get the EBGBs and think, you know what, my family are going to think I've gone mad by studying this stuff. Well, study it. If it makes you feel good, which really it should, but if it doesn't, it doesn't. And sometimes the feel-good stuff comes right after the not-so-good stuff. Like, I'll give you an example, then I'll let you go, get on with your Christmas day. I've recently had an opportunity where my heart, the romantic heart, the part of me that really wants to be loved, wants to be cherished, wants to be held, wants to be adored, wants to be all those things that we connect romance with, partnership with, love with, marriage with, all of those things. And I've recently had an opportunity for those things to begin to percolate, bubble, pop. I have a tendency that when things are going well in that regard, I don't trust it. So I tend to put up these walls and shut myself in as a preservation. And this is where the ego, the fear of being hurt, the fear of being rejected, the fear of being pushed aside, the fear of being cheated on, the fear of all those fears come into play. What I learned to do with it is to say, yeah, but I'm a different person. This is a different situation. I don't know where this is going or what's going to happen, but I'm up for it. And when it isn't going, doesn't happen, then I know something better will. That seems to be like the anesthetist or the anesthetic or the whatever you want to call it thing, to peace, calm, ease, flow. That puts it right. Because staying in that place of, oh my, this is happening, I've got to create this story and I've got to walk backwards into this, really isn't serving the greater purpose. All right, my friends, listen, thank you for your comments. Thank you for your subscriptions. I'm probably at 160 something, 170, which by some people's standards is nothing. It doesn't matter. If I can make a difference to one new subscriber each and every day, I'll get there. Anyway, I love you and have a Merry, Merry Christmas. Bye.